Hello students, we are solving problems under assessment of firms. Till now we solved problems relating to calculation of book profit and total income of the firm. In this session also let us solve similar kind of problem. Go through this problem. Rahu and Ketu are equal partners in a firm which showed the net loss of rupees 50,000 for the year after providing the following. Here there is a net loss of 50,000 and here Rahu and Ketu are equal partners and both are working partners. The informations are as follows. Interest on capital at the rate of 20%. Here interest on capital is 20%, but actual interest on capital allowed is 12%. Above that percentage, that is above 12%, interest on capital is not allowed, but here they are giving interest on capital to Rahu and Ketu at the rate of 20%, that means 8%, that is excess 8% is disallowed. That is interest on capital is 6,000 and 4,000 respectively. Next see, commission to Ketu 3,000 and salary to Rahu 6,000. Rent paid to Ketu 10,000, that is allowable item. You need not consider this one because it is actually allowable and it is included in their profit and loss statement. And the net loss was arrived at after considering 5,000 being dividend received. This dividend received is allowable, so they considered that one, and 2,000 as interest on drawings by Rahu. Here interest on drawings is payable to the company by the partner. Here Rahu is paying interest on drawings, and it is not disallowed items, it is allowed item also. Next see, compute the total income of the firm. Here to the net loss you have to add this disallowed expenses, because by considering this disallowed items the net loss amount increased. Now you have to decrease that net loss by adding that disallowed items to that, and here you have to deduct the items which are actually allowed. So why this for the net loss you have to add disallowed items, and why you have to deduct disallowed items from the profit, I already explained in the previous session. Please go through that. Here you have to add disallowed items, you will arrive at the book profit, and from that when you deduct remuneration to working partners you get the business profit. Let us solve this problem. Computation of total income of the firm for the assessment year 2020-21. 3 columns you have to draw, particulars and 2 amounts column. First you have to write net loss as per profit and loss account 50,000, that is minus 50,000 means loss. To that you have to add disallowed items, because now you have to reduce the loss, that is why you are adding back that disallowed items to the loss. So here interest on capital up to 12% allowable, above 12% is not allowable, that is why 8%, that is excess of 8% is disallowed, that is 6,000 of Mr. A's interest on capital. Out of that 8 by 20 is disallowed, that is 2,400. Next 4,000 of B, that is 8 by 20 of that 4,000 is disallowed, that amounts to rupees 1,600. Next commission to Ketu 3,000 and salary to Rahu 6,000. Actually they are working partners, but first you have to consider it as disallowed items, and then after calculating book profit or book loss you have to consider a remuneration of working partner. Here in disallowed you have to consider salary of all partners, then from that you have to deduct salary of working partners. So here the total of disallowed items amounts to rupees 13,000. When you add that 13,000 expense to the net loss of minus 50,000, you get a minus 37,000 as loss. Your loss reduced by 13,000, because here expenses you are adding to that loss, that means you are reducing the loss. From that you have to deduct income to be treated separately, because dividend received is not business income, it is income from other sources. That is why from the book loss or to the book profit you have to separate this income from other sources. That is why you are deducting income from other sources, dividend received 5,000. So, when you deduct this 5,000 rupees, your loss again increased by 5,000. Now, your loss amounts to rupees 42,000. This is your book loss, and from this book loss you have to deduct working partners remuneration, that is least of the following. When there is negative figure, you know actual remuneration or statutory limit, whichever is less you have to consider. Here working partners remuneration is allowable items. Now we have to deduct that thing from the book loss, that is actual remuneration of partners, that is commission to Ketu 3,000 and salary to Rahu 6,000, or statutory limit 1,50,000, whichever is less you have to consider. Here actual remuneration is less, that is why you have to consider actual remuneration of 9,000. When you deduct that thing from the loss, your business loss amounts to rupees 51,000, because already you have book loss of 42,000. Now again your expense increased by 9,000, that is you must pay salary to the working partners. So your business loss amounts to rupees 51,000, that is in minus figure, that is in negative figure. This is relating to calculation of book loss and business loss. Here they asked you to calculate total income. Here total income is nothing but business loss only, because here no other incomes are given. Here only one income is there other than business income, that is dividend received. Here dividend received is exempted under income from other sources, because here you have to consider it as dividend from domestic company. So here business loss itself your total income of the firm. This is business loss or total income of the firm. You can write like this. Okay. So this is the problem. Let us solve one more problem similar to this. See, A, B and C are partners in a firm with equal shares. So, these are three partners with equal share. They share profit and losses in the ratio of 1:1:1. The profit and loss account of the firm for the year ended 31st March 2020 is as follows. Particular amount column on the debit side and particulars and amount column on the credit side. See the credit side first. Gross profit brought down is given, that is 27,000, and on the debit side interest on capital at 18% and salary is given, that is interest on capital at the rate of 18%, ABC 24,000, 21,000, 27,000 respectively, and salary 3,60,000 respectively is given. So, the total amount of salary is 10,80,000 and net loss amounts to rupees 3,75,000 each. So, the total net loss amounts to 11,25,000. So, the total of your profit and loss balance is 11,52,000. Compute book profit and the total income of the firm for the assessment year 2020-21. The firm fulfills the conditions of section 184, that is relating to assessment of a firm. Here nothing is given about working partners, that is who are all the working partners. Here when no information is given, you have to consider all three partners are working partners. Similar type of problem we already solved. Let us go through this problem directly. See, computation of book profit of the firm for the assessment year 2020-21. You can also solve problem by like this, that is calculation of book profit separately and calculation of total income or business income separately. You can solve it in a different tables, or else you can solve it together. Okay, let us solve one problem separately. 3 columns you have to draw, that is particulars and 2 amounts column. First you have to write net loss as per profit and loss account, that is 11,25,000. To that you have to add disallowed items, that is interest on capital above 12%, that is 6%. Excess of interest on capital is disallowed, that is of A 24,000 into 6 by 18 amounts to rupees 8,000. Of B 21,000 into 6 by 18 amounts to rupees 7,000, and of C 27,000 into 6 by 18 amounts to rupees 9,000. And partners salaries, that is 3,60,000 each. So, the total disallowed items amounts to rupees 11,04,000. When you add this expense to the loss, that amounts to rupees 21,000, that is the book loss is reduced to 21,000, because here you reduced your net loss by adding back the expenses to that. That is, you are balancing the expenses and the book loss amounts to rupees 21,000. Next you have to calculate total income or book loss. Here total income or book loss or book profit is one and the same, because no other income is given in the problem other than business income. So, first you have to write book loss of the firm, that is minus 21,000. From that you have to deduct working partners remuneration, that is least of the following, that is actual remuneration of 3 partners 3,60,000 into 3 10,80,000, or statutory limit 1,50,000, whichever is less you have to consider. So, statutory limit is less, so you have to consider that thing. When you deduct that from the book loss, your business loss increased by 1,50,000. Now, your business loss amounts to rupees 1,71,000, because already book loss of 21,000 was there. Now, you are increasing the expense by paying working partners remuneration. So, the business loss amounts to rupees 1,71,000. So, this is the problem relating to computation of book profit or book loss and total income of the firm. In the exam, they may ask this type of a problem in section A or section B. Let us solve a 24 marks problem from the next session onwards. Thank you.